There's so much misinformation out there. I want to make sure that we are very clear about accurate information about our elections for the voters of Pennsylvania. So I'll start with the broad one. Pennsylvania has seen a lot of changes to voting rights in the last year. What are all the ways that Pennsylvanians can vote in the 2020 election? And the governor talked about these, but I just want to give some detail. So as the governor said, Pennsylvanians now, thanks to Act 77, historic bipartisan legislation passed last year, have more options, more security, accessibility, and convenience than we have ever had in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So there are now 3 ways that Pennsylvanians can vote. As Governor Wolf said, all Pennsylvanians can now vote by mail. Don't wait, apply today. Go to votespa.com, you could apply online, you could apply by mail, or you could apply in person at your county election offices. The application is not only available in English, it's also available in Spanish. And if you speak another language, you could call toll-free 877-VOTES-PA and get free translation services in any language. Again, as Governor Wolf said, no excuses needed. You could do it curled up in your bed with your son or daughter or your dog. It's safe at home. And as soon as you get your ballot, which as Governor Wolf mentioned will be in the next couple of weeks, make sure you return it as soon as possible. And you could return it by mail, you could return it in person, or you could return it at a designated authorized drop-off location by your county board of elections. Keep in mind, in Pennsylvania, you can only deliver your own ballot. So don't drop off your whole family's ballots. Don't put them all in a mailbox. Deliver your own. The only exceptions to this is that voters with disabilities or emergency ballots, so for example, if you're in the hospital, then you can appoint an agent to do it for you. But aside from that, deliver your own ballot, not your family members. Okay, so then second way that you can vote in Pennsylvania, that every Pennsylvanian can vote, is in-person early voting. So in a couple weeks, as soon as the ballots are finalized, the county election offices are going to have it available to the public to come vote in person. Call your county before you show up, because the county may have more than one office. Those offices may have different hours, but all voters can go in person. That's how I'm going to vote this year. Probably early October, I'm going to call Bucks County where I live. I'm going to say, what hours are you open? I'm going to go in person, say I'd like to apply for a mail-in ballot. They'll check my eligibility. If I'm eligible, which I hope I will be, they'll hand me a ballot, show me to a corner of the office where I can fill it out. I'll put it in the envelopes and cast it all in one visit. So I highly encourage everybody, you could do this on your own schedule during county election office hours. Most of the month of October, that will be available. And then, of course, as Governor Wolf mentioned, we will, of course, also have regular voting hours on November 3rd. Voters can go in person to their local polling place. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And there will not be the widespread consolidations we saw on June 2nd. Those consolidations were limited to the fact that we were in the middle of the surge of the pandemic, and Act 12 of 2020, which thank you to the legislators who passed that with us this year, that allowed very specific circumstances for that day only. But the counties are now planning on having normal or very close to normal numbers of polling places. Okay, question 2. If I applied for a mail-in ballot in the primary, do I need to reapply for the general? The answer is it depends. So if you asked to be a permanent annual voter when you applied in the spring, you do not need to reapply. And hopefully you got an email from us at the Department of State telling you that you fall in this category and you don't need to apply. If you did not apply to be a permanent annual voter, then yes, you do need to reapply. So I applied absentee in the spring, but I did not ask to be a permanent voter, so I need to reapply for the fall. And if you don't remember, you can either call your county elections office or go to Votes PA. There's a ballot status tracker. And if your tracker says pending, you do not need to reapply. It means they're going to send you the ballot as soon as it's ready. Okay, question 3. Is one form of voting more secure or less secure than the other forms? Absolutely not. As Governor Wolf mentioned, every form of voting we have in Pennsylvania has many steps to make sure that every voter is an eligible voter before they cast their ballot. The counties do an incredible job, and I am constantly in awe of how dedicated they are in making sure that every step of the process works well. Okay, number 4, is Pennsylvania delayed in sending out its ballots this year? I know that there was confusion yesterday in the news and over the weekend. The answer is no. So as Governor Wolf mentioned, under Pennsylvania law, counties only have to send out their ballots 14 days before Election Day. For those that are counting, that's by October 20th, okay? We believe that's far too late, which is why we're asking the legislature to move that back to at least 28 days before Election Day. But today is 49 days before Election Day. So the confusion, I think, is, as Governor Wolf mentioned, there's a 50-day provision in Act 77, which only requires that counties begin processing applications for ballots. So actually, the counties have been doing that for months. That's kind of a last day, not a first day. So, which gets me to the other question that a lot of people have been asking, which is what's the status of the challenge to the Green Party on the ballot? So as of yesterday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ordered me to stay certifying the ballot. And what that basically means is they are still deciding the issue of whether the Green Party presidential and vice presidential candidates will be on the ballot. So in the meantime, all the counties are not sitting around doing nothing. They are doing a million things. They are making sure every other part of their ballot is being finalized. They're having Department of State proof those ballots. They are printing out labels, they're doing all kinds of stuff. They are ready to go. And as soon as the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania tells us we can finalize the ballot, we will finalize the ballot. The counties will print out those ballots, get them in the mail, and have them ready for in-person voting as well. So you can expect that. I just found out on my way here that the Democratic Party, who brought the challenge, actually filed their briefs early last night to enable the Supreme Court to decide this. Hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, but I expect we'll have a decision on that this week. Okay, how many voters do we expect to see vote by mail? As you probably have heard, we saw nearly 1.5 million Pennsylvanians vote by mail in the primary, and just for comparison's sake, you should all know that in the last presidential primary, we had 84,000. So our amazing counties went from 84,000 to 1.5 million. As of yesterday, with 6 weeks still to go before the deadline, and application deadline, and 7 weeks before the submission deadline, nearly 1.9 Pennsylvanians have already applied. So did I mention do it today? Get it in early, because I would not be surprised if we see in the range of 3 million, based on the fact that we already have almost 2 million. And as Governor Wolf mentioned, we're making it even easier for you. We're providing prepaid postage, so you don't need a trip to the post office. Okay, last question. How can I help? Even if you didn't have that question, I was going to feed it to you anyway. So please consider serving as a poll worker. All the counties need poll workers, and I can tell you my first job in elections was as a poll worker, and you never feel more like you are part of the cycle of democracy than you do when you are literally helping Americans vote. So please go to votespa.com, volunteer to be a poll worker. 2, check before you click retweet or repost. There's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. Please help people get accurate information. Do not retweet inaccurate information. And of course, 3, vote. Vote, 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 vote. No matter how you vote, Pennsylvania voters have choices. Every one of them is secure, accessible, and safe. And the additional legislative reforms that we're seeking, described by the governor, will enhance all these options, provide additional safeguards so that every eligible vote will be counted, and make sure that we can also provide timely election results.